And good morning. It is 18 minutes after 8 o'clock, and joining us in studio this morning, officially now.
Officially.
He's
right.
This is official time here. Mayor Dennis Kintigh.
I got to straighten the tie.
That's right. Even getting the tie official. Oh, that's your city council tie.
That's right.
That's right.
Because
tonight's city council.
Bingo. You figured it out.
I have. I have. So,
right.
Yes, tonight is city council, which the public is invited and
Please
encouraged to come and listen and be a part of.
Sure.
6 p.m. At the Roswell Convention and Civic Center in the city council chambers there.
It's just, the chambers is a little sliver. We got that whole big conference room.
Yeah. It sounds important, though, when you have, like,
yeah, what the heck.
It's got podiums and everything.
Yeah, but it goes behind doors. Anyway, go ahead.
But that'll be tonight. And, of course, as always, you can always watch city council on the city's website, roswell-nm.gov. If you would like to contribute there is a GoToMeeting link, and you follow the procedures, and at the appropriate time, the mayor will bring you up and do all that. But yeah, we're full. You can come and be in the audience and do it's all, back to the way we normally like it.
So if you want to participate or comment on something on the agenda, please arrive before 6 and then sign up on those.
Yeah, don't wait till it's already started.
Yeah, because that way, what happens is the city clerk, Ms. Call, hands me the list right at 6 or just before 6. So I know, okay, on agenda item 9 or whatever, I've got 2 people. Now, I've been known to screw that up, but I tried hard not to. But the idea here is that we know to call on you. Now, certain things you don't have to sign up for. And those are 2 of the first 2 items we have.
Okay.
Let's back up. So we're going to have a wonderful presentation, so exciting, about utility billing from Mr. Nebb.
All right.
Grab
your popcorn.
Yeah, grab your popcorn. So it's kind of in the weeds thing, but it's an opportunity for the council and the public to understand. There's been some questions. How does this work?
Sure.
How do we do this?
Kind of pull back the curtain a little bit and make sense to people, things that may not make sense to them.
Right.
Gotcha.
So then we go into our 2 public hearings for proposed ordinances. Okay, the first one up is dealing with signs. I mean, it says Article 60, Roswell Zoning Code, blah, blah, blah. What this is temporary signs. And we talked a little bit about this. Okay, the way the ordinances are currently written, you can't have signs in the right-of-way. Well, okay, that sounds good. Well, the problem is the right-of-way is between the sidewalk and the curb. Mm-hmm. So if your sidewalk is set back, you got this huge chunk, especially downtown, where
right.
And you as the property owner are responsible for taking care of that. You got to cut the grass, you got to keep the weeds out, blah, blah, blah.
Sure.
So if you can do that, why shouldn't you be able to put a sign up? And that's what we're going to do. The problem, obviously everybody's attention is focused because it's political time. Mm-hmm. But this actually also applied to real estate signs, support for Roswell High athletes, mm-hmm. and church signs.
Sure.
So it was an overreach that nobody really recognized at the time. We've talked about it. We're finally getting ready to basically clean up the ordinance so it fits reality.
Gotcha. Make it so it's common sense. Now, I'm just out of curiosity because, like I say, and if you, and this is just, I'm just gee whiz wondering, like say you put signs out there, mm-hmm. and now can anybody put those signs, or just you have to get the permission of the property owner, yep. even though that right of way technically is correct their property.
Whoever is the property owner right there, that's responsible for taking care of that.
You have to get their permission.
Yep.
Very good. Okay.
As if you were putting it in her lawn.
So just don't go randomly run around pounding in those signs without knocking on some doors and getting. Otherwise, you're probably going to be wasting your effort, and those signs will be ripped up shortly thereafter you put them down.
I understand the gun clubs like them for target practice.
Yep.
Well, I've been known to contribute to that.
I believe in recycling, and that's a great way to do that.
There is that. There it is. All right, and then we go into the next one that has to do with, are you ready for this? I know this will shock you. More revisions related to marijuana.
Ah.
Yes. Now, this is actually the smoking ordinance, or the Clean Air Act ordinance, because now we are dealing with, people who want to smoke marijuana. Where can they do it?
Right.
And vaping. When this was originally written, this ordinance, that didn't exist. So now we're fixing that up. And
so does it follow basically the same rules that cigarette smoking would be, as far as where you can do it,
well,
where you can't?
no, marijuana got to be like further away.
Okay, but you can, in essence, be out in public smoking it.
I have to read the ordinance
Yeah,
closely.
that's what I was kind of questioning. Or does it fall under drinking laws, where you're not really allowed to walk around drinking a beer?
No.
Unless it's in a closed, whatever. I don't know if marijuana is the same thing, or can you walk around like a cigarette?
No,
and do it?
I don't believe
know.
so, but I'll double check that. They got a good question.
Yeah.
Well, we'll find out tonight.
All right, we'll get that hammered out.
All right. Then we would have normally gone into our consent items, but we got almost everything pulled from consent by Councilor Orpesa, which is, of course, the privilege and right, not privilege. It's a right of any counselor to pull any item off of the consent agenda. Well, what's the consent agenda? That means that we don't have any objection. Everybody agrees. Well, if not everybody agrees, then we have to talk about it.
Gotcha.
So that's what's going to. So first thing up, we're going to talk about manhole repairs. We've run into an issue on Atkinson, the North Atkinson project, and actually we've had an ongoing, never-ending manhole repair replacement projects. We work on some of them every year.
Okay.
Been doing it 4 years, and we got a whole bunch. And what it is the swamp gas, for want of a better term, corrodes the mortar in these old brick-lined ones.
So is that like methane or whatever, basically?
Yes.
Methane and a cocktail of other stuff?
Yeah, cocktail of other stuff.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Okay.
And so what they do is they fix that all in. They use a coating that's some kind of polymer, and bam. But we've ran into some problems in the Atkinson project. Last month we authorized 3 manhole cover projects. This one's going to be $75,000 for another one. It came to the surface a little too late to fit on last month, so we're doing it this month.
Interesting. Okay.
Also on Atkinson, we're doing water lines. We're talking $760,000 to replace water lines that they discovered were in bad shape when they started doing the road work.
Gotcha. Is this all, again, part of those 75-year-old pipes and, they all go about the same time kind of thing? Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. We have a rebid for Hondo River Trail that we had gone out to bid once before. We have another bid now. That's about $210,000 to work on to redo that trail. We're working our way through our trail systems, trying to identify. We did the Spring River Trail between the zoo and Garden. That is really nice now. My golly. Woo.
Yeah.
Hobson Road. Whoa, boy. This one is something that's been near and dear to my heart. Hobson Road between 285 and Earl Cummings. We're talking somewhere in the neighborhood of about $1.3 million. Now, part of this is state money.
Okay.
And so we'll be working with them. Another road project is West McGaffey, rehabbing that. That's $900,000.
Okay.
Brazier Asphalt Nova Chip. And then what we're doing here is we're entering into an agreement to purchase some supplies to be used by a street department.
Okay.
Another just under $1 million. This stuff's expensive.
Yeah.
But we use it to do the roads. This
Sure.
is how we pay for the roads.
It's a necessary, it's cost of doing business.
We then get into 2 leases with Ascent Aviation. Now, Ascent Aviation is a company that is relatively new to Roswell.
Just had their grand opening, or about to have their grand opening.
Yeah, they're going to do a groundbreaking on Saturday.
Yeah.
So they're going to be bringing in they're leasing some land. Leasing some land to store the components for the hangar that's going to be built.
Okay.
So we enter into a lease agreement with them, and I don't think we're charging them hardly anything because it's like store this stuff. But we're also leasing, we've already leased a building, and we're leasing that to them.
Okay.
In the terminal, we've got a couple of our rental car agencies leases that we're going to talk about, so we'll grind through those too.
Are they looking to renew? Or?
Yeah, Avis and Hertz.
Cool.
But they have different brand names. Like Hertz is not Hertz; it's Booton Incorporated.
Oh, it's the title, whatever parent company or whatever it is.
Or it's a franchise, whatever.
So how did they go with Hertz? Maybe they asked him at the meeting.
Yeah.
Hurts, don't it?
So, and then we got a resolution, proceed with a North Garden Bridge replacement project. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to tear up North Garden again. Oh, my golly, this is never ending. This thing's been going on for almost 4 years. But this is the bridge over the Arroyo just in front of the Roswell livestock.
Okay.
And this is actually the next bridge we needed to replace. We've done the Spring River one on North Garden.
Gotcha.
Then we went and did the Lee and Deming Bridge. Now we're going to come back and do this one.
Were these all built around the same time? So they're all kind of eroding at the same time? Or?
That I'm not entirely sure. I think there's 27 total bridges in this, something like that. And so this will be the third of 27. And we'll see where we end up.
Okay. I didn't know, when at the time they were building all this, so they were kind of maybe constructed around the same time.
Yeah, there's
some
of them
have been replaced since
yeah.
then, or whatever. Yeah.
Some are really old. This is actually a legislative appropriation. We're talking just under $1 million, $889,000, which is great that we got this. This is in addition to the city's $13 million that we're spending on streets. So this is some additional money we're getting in. We have gotten approved for. Now we just got to do the project. Now the tricky part is this: we can't afford to have this project tearing up Garden at the same time Atkinson is still torn up.
That would be a very huge inconvenience for a lot of people in that area.
Yes, it would be. So I have been assured that we will not start tearing up Garden again until Atkinson is open.
All right. But this is a government operation. So
it has me nervous. You know why I'm nervous. Yeah, because I've been in government up to know no, please, not that. So we'll see. And then eventually, Garden gets redone. I mean, we've had so many patches there. We need to go back and really redo that.
Sure.
But we've done so much underneath. We're getting all the underneath stuff done. And now
it's just been years of not really a whole lot of attention paid to there. And now we're kind of reaping what we sow on that one and having to kind of go overhaul it in essence to get it back to where it should be.
Yes, because we that whole area there, the Edgewood area, there's some of the oldest water lines in Roswell.
Gotcha.
And they were we've been working on this for seriously about 4 or 5 years, doing some great work that's need to be done. And there's some very large water lines. I think there's a 36-inch running down Garden, and then you have paralleling that like an 8-inch or something like that. So there's a lot of stuff underground, and we have, of course, sewer. We have gas and electric.
Sure.
All that stuff. This is, to be honest with you, this is kind of what is the meat and potatoes of city government.
Sure. This is what city government does.
Exactly. And so
this is why you pay your grocery receipts and everything else is so
exactly.
They can go in and maintain these roads and these facilities.
So we're going to be talking about it. We'll get a presentation and from staff, and the staff, we have some very fine people that work for us, and their jobs are to, present. And we're not really here to micromanage them, but it's an oversight thing, and you want to ask questions, understand it. So, because we're spending a lot of money,
you want to make sure you're good stewards of the taxpayer money here.
Exactly.
And so you just don't want to give them money and then they go run roughshod over it and do a half job on here.
So we get done with that. We're going to go into our regular new business. We're finally be done with the things that have been on consent. And right off the bat, it's going to be our 2021 audit and corrective action plan. We've got... every year we get audited. Mm-hmm. We have to send the audit to the state. State reviews it, and then they bless it or kick it back.
Okay.
They've blessed it. Now we can release it.
Okay.
The interesting thing is we do have 2 findings. One deals with municipal court, and the other one is a kind of an issue about, hey, we got to get this item, so let's go ahead and buy it, and we'll do the purchase order afterwards. No.
Okay.
Not allowed. You got to do the purchase order first.
Okay.
And so
it's procedural stuff.
Yes,
it's
procedural
did it in
stuff.
the wrong order, and now you got to go back and fix that.
And hey, stop doing that. So
Gotcha.
Training, everybody, no, we don't do it this way.
Gotcha. But that's the whole purpose of an audit.
Exactly.
And I would imagine, based on municipalities in the state of New Mexico,
oh yeah,
that was probably a pretty clean audit.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Just a hunch.
Yeah. Then we are going to deal with some things that have been on our books for years, and these are uncollectible accounts. These are some of these go back 15, 20 years, I think, water bills and things that people, they stiffed us, they left. We don't have any way of finding them. They're gone. And so we want to just kind of clean up the books and say, hey.
Every business does this. That's
That's one of the things, too, is we provide these services, and this is the case where we didn't turn off your water because you were behind. We're very good about doing that, trying to keep it going as long as we can.
Sure.
But well,
it's utilities. It's a little different, and then especially, power so much more so than water. But when
no, water you got to have.
Yeah, but I mean, like,
of course, you could run the hose from the neighbor.
Power is more done through private than city, so their grace periods are a little bit different than the city would be. But nonetheless, they have to have them too.
So we are looking at next up is going to be an authorization to advertise to talk about some changes to our zoning ordinances. That's going to be another one of these delightfully in the weeds things. Yeehaw! The rocket sculpture item is not ready for prime time, so we're going to have that pulled.
Okay.
Next up is our Mead and Hunt Air Service Development Consulting Services.
Okay.
Mead and Hunt is a consultant we've had for a number of years. They're very good people. They've been working with us to try and get the Denver service.
Okay.
Of course, COVID knocked everything for a loop. Keeping those avenues open, and that's our objective, is to get that Denver service.
And that's why we did was it right before COVID, actually? There was that basically partnership with the Denver airport as like a sister city. I don't remember the official terminology, but a partnership, basically.
Yep. And so that's where we were starting to build those relationships. We want to get back on track. Things seem to be getting a little more rational. Please.
Well, that'll be nice. I know consumers will love that. And again, this is those things I got to say. We got to remember, if we do get this opportunity to add that Denver flight, it only hangs out if we support it.
Bingo.
That's the thing. I think we were starting to get, with the Vegas run before COVID, we were starting to get some good traction on those flights out west. Or Phoenix run, what did I say? Vegas.
Yeah.
That's what I meant, Phoenix.
Yeah.
Something else on the brain, I guess.
I knew what you were thinking.
Well, I caught about halfway through. I think I said but anyway, you're going to have to treat that Denver flight the same way. But I imagine that's because that almost gives you all, as far as U.S. travel, you need to go west, you need to go north, you need to go east.
That's it.
You're covered.
Yeah.
And so I really like that. Gives a lot of options to a lot of folks. And I imagine for our business side of things, that's got to set the table to encourage more businesses setting up shop in our part of the woods, because now they've got a direct connect from these other major cities. So that's a good thing.
Well, Loprino's corporate headquarters is in Denver.
Very good.
Intrepid Potash down in Carlsbad area, their corporate headquarters is Denver. A lot of oil and gas entities around here have interest operations up in the Colorado, Wyoming.
Maybe they'll expand services because of that, or even more, just create more businesses coming in and creating just more growth for our area. So
that we're hopeful. We'll be talking more aggressively about that whole thing as the months go by. Service agreement with Main Street Roswell. We've had some extensive discussions and negotiations on this. Been a long haul, but we are ready to sign up for it.
Okay.
And we're looking forward to having a good relationship with them.
Okay.
So then, and kind of following up on that, is we're looking at a grant program. First, this is some special money the state has, and you got to understand some of these monies you can't use like for streets or policemen.
They're earmarked for specific things.
Yes. So this is a grant program to fix up an area here in the downtown area. It's called the Great Blocks Program.
Okay.
And it's just to the south of 2nd Street at the railroad tracks. There's a big empty lot there that used to be Southwest Public Safety Service generation plant.
Okay.
Huge thing there. And because of what had been there and some other things, it's going to remain open, but we're going to look at converting it into a venue area that we can have concerts outdoor.
Sure.
There's going to be parking.
Or any kind of public event or whatever, if they have some kind of who knows, maybe a chili cook-off style thing or something like, you know what I mean? Those kind of events. Yeah.
So we're in the design phase for this. We're in the competition for some serious state funding.
Okay.
So one of the things about these, to get these funds for construction, you have to present to the state your plans. Now, the good news is we got money from the state to develop the plans.
Okay.
So we're working on that.
Good deal. So we can really utilize that and turn that into a community asset.
And it would be really attractive, and I've seen the drawings on it. It's pretty impressive. But once again, this is not the money that would go to streets and or police.
Right.
This is special
this
money.
can only be used for this and no other, so might as well use it.
Like the convention center. The whole convention center renovation was funded with the bed fee.
Yeah.
What's the bed fee? $2.50 per night per room at the motels here. So the people coming in from out of town pay money into this, and this in turn comes to the city. But once again, under state law, we could only use it for the convention center.
It's very similar like lodger's tax, if people have heard that. In essence, people that come and stay at our hotels and things, they pay, when they pay their nightly stay, they pay, in essence, a couple of pennies or whatever it is on lodger's tax. And then that money is used to go and promote tourism and promote things in that local area.
Well, it's only pennies if it's the Zuni Lodge. Of course, the Zuni Lodge is long gone, ladies and gentlemen. How do I know about the Zuni Lodge? I've kicked in a door at the old Zuni
You've
Lodge.
been here a time or two.
Yeah, that's where the Marriott is now. But I couldn't believe. Oh my gosh. Flashback there. Okay. Back in when we.
But in essence, it's the same kind of thing.
So there's the quick story. There's one breakfast Saturday morning. I get a call from my state police. It was Judge Rogers and a couple other guys from state police. So we had Dutch there. So we go over. I meet them there. Sit in a booth and have a little breakfast, looking out the window at the Zuni. And we get done, and we just kind of walk across and, bam, kick the door and drag these guys off to jail.
Well, I'm glad you got to fuel up first. So
yeah, so that was the whole thing about it.
We're not going anywhere. Right here,
yeah, we can see them. We're not going anywhere.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and here's the thing. The only reason why they brought me along, because I'm the FBI guy, right? So that means when the door got kicked, the FBI got stuck with the bill to fix the door.
Oh, you were that guy,
Yeah, I was that guy.
You were the, hey, drinks on this guy.
Yeah.
That's a smart move. I like that.
Yeah, they are. They were pretty good about
stewards of local money.
That's right. They were. Let's bring the Fed along. Anyway, we may shift this order a little bit. I'm hoping we can, because we have the guy who's presenting on the Great Blocks project is also talking about the improvements at the cemetery.
Okay.
So for many years, we've been talking about two things. One, columbariums, which are those structures that you put cremated remains in.
Yes.
And a communal shelter. In other words, it's like what they have for the Veterans Cemetery.
Okay.
All right. So in other words, what happens now is if you have a graveside service, they have to roll out a tent kind of thing. And if
Put
it's
down
at
that
all
pasture turf and all that.
if it's a little windy and it's difficult. Whereas this would be something that would be permanent. You have your, quote, graveside service.
Like a little pavilion type thing?
Yeah.
I got you.
And the idea would be it's ADA compliant, or it's people in a wheelchair. You can easily move them in. You don't have to worry about the wind because it's a permanent structure.
And you can probably put power on it if you need to, the lighting and all that.
Exactly. So you have all those good features, and it's just a desirable way to go. Columbariums are a preferred form of burial now. There's been a very big shift away from coffin burials to cremation, and we don't have public columbariums. We have columbariums at the Veterans Cemetery, and those have been very popular. So what we're doing is this would be at the cemetery.
And I've seen those very similar to other veteran cemeteries and things. Matter of fact, my father's interred in one of those in Maryland in a veteran cemetery.
And my father-in-law and mother-in-law are here. So I'm excited about this. Well, this, by the way, another one of these interesting little tidbits, this is COVID money. Because, all these people were dying from COVID.
Is that really?
Okay, well, we may get slapped on this one, but we're trying to. Once again, we're protecting the general fund where we pay for streets, pay for
this
police.
This is a stretch in the spirit of the law.
Well, I don't think so, but we'll find out.
All right. Well, it's worth a shot.
What they say.
I guess it's worth a shot. Well, I guess
I guess we shouldn't be talking about this on the air, right?
worst they can say is no, right?
Yeah, if you don't ask, you won't get kissed. Well, I prefer the analogy: better to be asking for forgiveness than permission.
Hey, put sanitation stations around it, and that'll justify the COVID.
There you go.
Put a couple of those sanitation stations, and
Yep.
I think that puts us in compliance with the spirit of of the money.
Yep. Then, okay, so we're also going to be doing a $600,000 authorization for beginning of the work for the large hangar project.
Okay.
This is to demolish some old concrete. What we have going on out there is we have an existing contractor, Constructors Incorporated, already doing work on site.
Okay.
So we're using what's called CES. It's a pre-approved contractor thing, so they can just move some equipment over rather than having to bring somebody in. Now, this is just for the demolition. There'll be more work that goes out for bid, but to get this thing cleared up and on the way because we want to get some stuff going.
Okay.
So this will be at the council for $600,000. We're going to look at purchasing 4 John Deere Gator utility vehicles through our local John Deere dealership.
Okay.
So that's good. And final thing we're going to be talking about is some replatting and zoning cases. This is for the Crumlin Auto Group.
Okay.
As you may have heard, they're going to relocate the Ford dealership
I have heard that.
out on the West 2nd. They're actually, I'm hoping I don't screw this up. We can get somebody from Crumlin to tell you the whole story. But they're going to take the Hyundai, which is on the far east side.
Yeah, that's the most east of their dealerships.
It's also the oldest building, and move that to the west side.
On the other side of Toyota?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then where the Hyundai is, there's an empty lot too. So you take the Hyundai and the empty lot, and
They're going to make that the Ford house.
Yeah.
Okay, so just out of curiosity, have they made any plans of what's going to happen to the old Ford house?
We've
Like,
had
what
a
are they
couple
gonna do with that?
discussions about that.
That's a prime piece of real estate.
It is. And personally, what I have said to the Crumlin folks is, I would really love to see a hotel on the used car lot, and then a sky bridge over to the convention center,
Okay.
so you could tie in. So
And they
a lot
just
of-
put that new, like right behind Ford, there's a new hotel back there. Is that done? Is that?
Oh yeah. Home to Suites,
Yes,
actually,
yes.
extended stay.
And then of course, yeah. So that would make sense because it is kind of turning into a little hotel district right in there,
Which is kind of cool because you want downtown vibrant.
and it's close to
one.
restaurants and things, which makes sense.
So the idea would be that, in my mind, and of course it's not my property, I'm not the developer.
Sure.
I just think that we could have that would expand the potential
Yeah.
of the convention center if you have a companion hotel.
Yeah.
And especially if they have some more breakout rooms. One of the big issues with the convention centers is, where do we go for our smaller meetings? Now, we can do a lot in that new section we built on the north side. That has the ability, I think, to break into 4 or 5 smaller rooms. So
And you do have those smaller rooms, like if you go into the main entrance there, and don't you go down like that little hallway, and there's a bunch of smaller rooms down
they
there?
can be. Everything is movable partitions.
Okay.
You could open that whole thing up into one massive
Okay.
area.
'Cause I think I've been in there before and walked by, and it looked like there's like half a dozen
You could-
smaller meeting spaces.
You could get, I think there's like a total of 5.
Okay.
Okay, so then we're going to finish up the evening with a closed session. We're going to talk about litigation involving the Army Corps of Engineers, and that's all I'm going to say.
Gotcha. Okay.
Because litigation stuff, we bring the attorneys in, and then
Yeah.
they warn us to, blah, blah, blah. So,
Sure.
but sometimes you got
If
to bring
there's some fallout later from it, then we can report it. But
Yeah.
for right now, it's still legally sensitive.
We're not, and there's no anything afterwards where you come out and you vote, we're going to sue so and so, or we're not going to, or we're going to accept some kind of settlement. We had that when we had the tax and revenue lawsuit that we were part of with others. So we had a closed session because part of the settlement was not to be public knowledge. It's really weird, but we came out and the council voted to accept it.
Very good.
So you're right. This one could be very full. We'll see if I'm still wearing the same tie.
Well, we'll know tomorrow morning. Yes.
Yeah.
Mayor will join us at 7:35 to give us the Sports Center recap here.
Yeah.
We got like 2, 3, 4 minutes here. I do want to kind of. I had, of course, State Reps Greg Nybert and Kenny Spence on last hour talking some legislative stuff. And,
Yes.
And in between all the bad news they had, they did have some good news about this potential here with the firefighter training.
Yes.
Putting a facility for airport or aircraft firefighting training in our Roswell Air Center here.
Yep.
To me, that makes so much sense. It's not even funny, but that's got to be a potential game changer, really, for Roswell in this area, doesn't it?
It is, and what it deals with is that the FAA requires that the airports that have air service, scheduled air service, have on-site firefighters. These firefighters have to be trained in aircraft-related emergencies, not just fires.
Yeah, when
but
you
the
do with jet
crashes.
fuels and things,
Yes.
putting it out is a whole different animal than just putting out a grease fire in your kitchen.
Right, and we've got nowhere in New Mexico that you can get this annual training. So crews from New Mexico go elsewhere. And I say nowhere. That the one exemption
Is in Albuquerque, right?
But it's limited to Albuquerque because it's a joint Air Force city.
Oh, I got you.
And they will not allow like us to go up there. Well,
Because the military's kind of flit the bill for most of that.
some of it.
Yeah,
Anyway,
I
so
got you.
our guys have to go to somewhere in like Lubbock or College Station or so. I forget where. But we have to take the equipment too.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it's kind of expensive.
Absolutely, yeah.
So what we're going to do is by doing it here, not only do we save all of our travel costs,
Sure.
we can bring in the crews from elsewhere like Santa Fe, Farmington, any of these places. Now there's some of these smaller air service outfits, but they still have to have the air crew, the firefighters.
Absolutely.
So we're hoping to be able to do that here. Now, this is the money we're looking at was to do the final design, everything. I think we can probably do the actual less than what we've been thinking for a number of years, but we won't truly know until we get into the design work.
Gotcha. Just, I know this is way down the road and all that, but ideally, would that be a federal entity that runs that, or would it be our own Roswell Fire and Rescue that run it?
Our own people.
Okay, very
But
cool.
you have to meet standards
Absolutely,
for training.
yeah, their training and all that. But in essence, that would be a division of our own fire and rescue.
And we already have a training academy out there on Brasher and Sunset.
Yeah, it's pretty cool if you've ever driven by it. Or
Oh, it
been by
is. It
there,
is
yeah.
pretty cool. I went out there and did the entrance PE thing that they do.
Oh, where they go up the steps?
Yep.
Yeah. No, thank you. I don't want none to do that.
I want you to know, I'm going to pat myself on the back. I actually got a qualifying time.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, good. So if we got a fire, I
No.
expect a tank and,
No.
and a helmet on you.
No. No. I did. I won't talk about what I was doing on the ground after I
Got closer with the dirt there.
Yeah, I got
baby.
closer with the dirt. Just because you finish doesn't mean you're not finished.
Milk was a bad choice.
Yeah. So anyway, but no, that was exciting. We got some other good things coming too. I've been talking to a couple of the legislators, and it's another example of the state being flush with money. Here's hoping we spend it wisely.
Well, it sounds like some of the road projects look like they'll get funded. You know, that the 3-laner, super 3-lane, whatever they're going to call that, from
Going to Texas,
towards Tatum there. Yeah, that
would be awesome.
That's going to be helpful.
I
Hopefully.
wish it was 4-lane, but that's
but I'll take 3. That's
That's
better
true.
than 2. What we got now. So.
And in the city, one of our big projects is Washington. Now, we already did from McGaffey to Alameda. We did a mill and fill. And if you've not been by, it's right there by Missouri Elementary. It's not Missouri Avenue Elementary anymore. This is not on Missouri Avenue.
All
right, so it's on Washington. What we've asked for is funding from the state. This is in addition to what we have been planning to go from Alameda all the way to 8th. So get across 2nd Street, go up there. Eventually, we will need to go to 19th. But we get to 8th Street, we're past the worst.
Okay.
So that's what's in the works.
Okay. Again, tonight, City Council, 6 p.m. at the Roswell Convention and Civic Center. Public is always invited to come and be a part of the audience there for the meeting. You can also watch the meeting from the convenience of your home. Just log on to the city's website, roswell-nm.gov. You'll find a link there on the front page to the meeting, and to sign up if you'd like to formally speak or be a part of the event there.
Okay.
And then, of course, tune in tomorrow morning, 7:35. The mayor will be back with us with a McDonald's burrito in hand and giving us all the fun highlights from tonight's meeting. Hopefully, he's wearing new clothing.
Hopefully. Yep.
Well, thank you, sir, as always. Appreciate it. And we'll see you in the manana.
Yes, sir.
All right. Take care.
All right.
Don't work too hard. I know. Easier said than done. All right. It is 8:53. Let's get you in.